Hi, I'm Brian Haddad. I will be playing Lex Luthor for Luthor Golf in Emporia. I'm the buyer.
My name is Mark Cedeno. I'm representing myself as well as Syngenta, and I will be a seller for selling PrimaMax.
I'm Christopher Rodriguez. I'm also a seller selling Syngenta PrimaMax.
Our objective today is to sell Mr. Luthor a year's supply of PrimaMax.
Come on in.
Hello, Mr. Luthor. My name is Mark Cedeno. Welcome to the phone.
I'm Christopher Rodriguez. Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you. These are our business cards.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yes.
May we be seated, please?
Please, have a seat.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for meeting with us, Mr. Luthor. As discussed over the phone, we've been working with Bruce Wayne and his establishment. His course is similar to yours in size and maintenance, and he actually has concerns with turf maintenance, which I'm sure you have.
We've been able to save him a significant amount of money. We're here today to see if our ideas that work for him will also work for you as well. Do you mind if we move a little closer so we may share some information with you?
That'll be fantastic.
First question I have for you, Mr. Luthor, is are you currently using a PGR? And if so, which one are you using?
We currently are. We're using a PGR called Starks. We've been using it for about 3 years now.
When we met with Mr. Wayne, he had some concerns regarding yellowing grass on his course. I wanted to ask, are you currently experiencing any of the same concerns?
Actually, yes. We tend to have yellow patches of grass throughout the course, and it's a real eyesore for our guests.
I would imagine so. How often does the grass turn yellow? And if so, what must be done to address it?
It happens quite frequently, actually. I'd say every month there's a few patches of yellow grass that has to be taken care of. And as far as what we do to address it, every month a few of our workers actually cut out the patches of grass, and then they fill it in with sod. It's a tedious process, and to be honest, I think we end up replacing the entire course throughout the year.
I would imagine so. Now, how much does this process take? Also, how much does it cost you to replace the sod and patches, and about how much are you spending on labor?
Well, let's see here. I'd say probably for the first week of every month, it takes about a week to cut out the patches. Then we have to allow the sod to settle. After all that time, yeah, it takes about a week. As far as the costs for the sod, I believe we're paying about $600 per patch. And the man hours that it's costing us, I actually have 6 full-time employees right now. They're making about $12 an hour. If I had to give you an actual number off the top of my head, for the one, I want to say about $2,800 a month I'm spending, plus the cost of sod.
I see. Well, let me understand if I understand everything you said correctly. For the entire process of replacing the yellow patches, it takes about a week, in which it costs you $600 per patch for the sod and $480 for each worker. And as you said, you have 6 workers that you have under your employment. So with the process, it would multiply by 6. You would have to pay about $2,880 on workers alone for going through this process. As well, that would mean that the yellow patch alone would cost you $600 for the sod, and multiply it by 12 for the year. Let me see. It costs you about $35,000 for the yellowing grass. Does that sound right to you?
Wow, I didn't really think of it that way. That does sound pretty correct, though.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Luthor, if you didn't have to spend that $35,000 for replacing sod and yellowing grass, what would it mean to you and your business if you could spend that money on something else?
Wow, I could spend $35,000 on something else. You know, take a look at that lake out there. You see that lake I have right there? That $35,000 that I could spend, I could definitely put some foliage around it. I think my guests would love to see, some more nature out there, maybe increase the environment, and I think they'd really enjoy it.
I think that sounds like a fantastic idea, Mr. Luthor. I think the extra foliage around your lake over there would really spruce the place up a little bit. Next, I would like to ask you, though, about grass clippings. Are you currently having to pay any excess fines for grass clippings?
Well, now that I think about it, we are a pretty big golf course. Can you imagine how many grass clippings that we have to get rid of every single month? With that new law that just passed, I'm finding very limited options on how to get rid of it without being fined. So I've been paying close to about $450 per month in fines, just trying to get rid of grass.
Okay, so you're saying you spend about $450 a month in fines, correct? that would equate to about $5,400 a month, $4,400 a year, I'm sorry. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, it's an exorbitant amount of money to pay for grass clippings, but yeah, that's what I pay out.
Well, what would it mean to you and your business if you could instead spend that $5,400 on something else?
Well, I've always wanted my own personal golf cart to get around the course.
Well, that seems to be a great investment for yourself. We also understand that Mr. Wayne had some concerns with wear and tear on his equipment due to excess mowing. Do you share these similar concerns?
Yeah, I had to actually replace one of my mowers this past year due to excess usage. It just crapped out.
Oh wow.
Well, it seems like quite a bit of resources are used on just this concern alone. Now, how much do you spend on fixing or replacing the machinery, and how often do you need to do so?
This is a really sore spot for me. I just had to rebuy a new machine last year. It cost me $35,000, and the old machine, it only lasted me about a year and a half. They're supposed to last 3 years, but because I'm using it so much, it only lasted a year and a half. And as far as what I'm paying, I mean, all those mowers there that you see there, it cost me about $2,000 a month just to keep them working.
I see. So let me see if I understand you correctly. So this past year you spent $35,000 on a new mower. To add to that, you spend on maintenance $2,000 a month. So if we do the math right now, that would add up for $24,000 you do need maintenance for the year, plus what you spent on the new machinery, which was $9,000 grand total. Does that sound about right to you?
$59,000? Is that really what I'm spending? Wow, I never really thought of it that way. I never knew that this was setting me back so much.
Well, if you could spend that $59,000 on something else, what would it mean to you and your business if you could reinvest it somewhere?
Wow. See that 9th hole right over there? I've always dreamt of, every time I'm sitting at my desk and I look out the window, I've always just dreamt of putting a lounge up there. I think my guests would really love to take like a halftime break from their game, hang out, get something to eat, have a drink, conversate, just to take a little break from the game. I think they'd love to do that at the 9th hole, and that's what I would do if I had an extra $59,000.
I think it's a wonderful idea, Mr. Luthor. So let me see if I understand you correctly. According to the information that you've been giving me, it's been costing your business $34,560, plus the cost of sod for yellowing grass alone, which you said you could instead be using towards planting some new foliage around your lake area. And the fines for your excess clippings are totaling up to about $5,400 a year, which you said you would rather reinvest in purchasing a new personalized golf cart for yourself.
Yeah.
Correct? And the $59,000 that your company is spending now on the purchase and maintenance of new equipment, you could instead be using towards putting out a new lounge across the way over there. So for a grand total of $98,960 is what it's costing you so far. Does that sound about correct to you, Mr. Luthor?
Wow, that's insane. That's $100,000 that I'm spending. It's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. But does it sound about right?
Well, from the sound of your reactions, as well as from what you've told us about your course, it seems that we would introduce to you our new product, PrimaMax. It's a revolutionary new PGR that contains a very revolutionary ingredient called trinexapac-ethyl. What it does, it improves your turf quality by producing greener, tighter, and denser grass.
So what this means to you and your business is that $35,000 that the maintenance and equipment is costing you, you can instead be using towards putting up the new foliage and towards the lounge as well.
Okay.
We actually have taken the liberty to take some pictures of Mr. Williams' golf course before and after he began using PrimaMax. As you can see in both photos, that's him and his sign right there. In the first photo right here, you can see that there's a bunch of yellow patches, as similar to what you've explained to yourself earlier, as well as in the other one, just there's no sign of yellow anywhere.
That is Mr. Wayne, and that is a golf course, but second picture here, it's photoshopped, right?
Well, we understand your concerns completely, Mr. Wayne. However, we have brought with us a letter from Mr. Wayne stating about his use of PrimaMax, and we've highlighted the parts that might be relevant to you.
That seems like something Bruce would say. Okay, this seems credible.
We're glad you feel that way. So then, having heard and seen this product, does it make sense to you that PrimaMax is a great solution for yellowing grass on your course?
Absolutely. I mean, everything that you've shown me so far, it's really hard to argue with.
That's great to hear. In addition to the effects of greener, tighter, and denser grass, because of our new ingredient has trinexapac ethyl, the PGR is foliar absorbed, so it reduces the growth rate by up to 50%.
Now what that means to you, Mr. Luther, is that with a reduced growth rate of the grass, it will mean a reduced reduction in grass clippings, which will allow you to avoid the fines given by the state, and then actually will have given added bonus of giving you more time to work on other projects.
I like the sound of that. But at the same time, you gotta understand, it's really hard to believe. I think I'll need more than just the word that this product has, well, actually can deliver those kind of results.
Oh, we understand your concerns, and we did bring the study that was done in Golf Digest magazine, which assists in what we've stated to you. We've highlighted the parts that might be relevant.
Well, I can't argue with the study. Looks like everything seems to validate everything you guys are saying.
We're glad to share our view on this benefit. Finally, because of the ingredient trinexapac ethyl and reducing turf grass by up to 50%, the result is less use of machinery to mow the grass.
So what that means to you, Mr. Luthor, is that with less mowing and less wear and tear on your equipment, there'll be less need for constant maintenance, and it would mean that you would have to spend less money on buying replacement parts for everything. Yeah, how does that sound to you?
Really, it does sound amazing. But gentlemen, I gotta be frank with you. Talk is just talk. Without actual proof this machinery won't be used as often, I'm really reluctant to believe your guys' statements.
Of course, we understand that our word is nothing without proof, which is why we actually were able to get this letter from Mr. Wade himself. We highlighted the points where he would agree with everything that we stated.
This is Mr. Rain's stationery. And based on the parts that you highlighted, he seems to agree with you guys. Okay.
Right, so having seen these, does it make sense to you, and do you agree, Mr. Luthor, that Primo Max is a product that will help you extend the life of your mowing equipment and save you some money on cost of maintenance?
Based on what you gentlemen have shared with me today, I really find it hard to disagree with the information that you've presented.
That's great to hear, Mr. Luthor. Now, before we move on, is there any other concerns that you have not yet shared with us?
Actually, there is one. I'm glad you brought it up, by the way. With the Starks PGR that we're using, it's killing off a lot of the animals on the field, and it's really bad when our customers see, that stuff laying around. So I'm just worried that Primo Max is gonna have the same kind of outcomes.
Well, we're glad you shared this concern with us, Mr. Luthor. Let me see if I understand you correctly. You've been currently experiencing dead animals appearing on your course as a result of being exposed to the grass. Is that correct?
Yes, and you can imagine how my customers feel when they see that.
We completely understand of how you feel that way and how they would feel. And we understand that that's been an issue with many of the PGRs, which is why technology for the trinexapac ethyl is so revolutionary.
You see, Mr. Luthor, since the new ingredient doesn't just stay on the grass, trinexapac ethyl is foliar absorbed, as I mentioned before. It said it has the result is that it has no effect on non-target organisms.
Gentlemen, that does sound fantastic, but I'm very skeptical, and I just can't take a word from just anybody.
Of course. Which is actually why we actually brought a report from Cal Poly Pomona, which we highlighted at what they've written about our foliage.
Cal Poly Pomona, what a great school. I love Cal Poly Pomona. Wow. Definitely looks like they've addressed all my concerns. Okay.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Now, before we move on, are there any other questions you might have for us or concerns you'd like to share with us?
You reassured every single concern I've had today.
You're glad that we were able to do that, that you feel that way. Well, Mr. Luther, it seems that your company would truly benefit from having Primo Max, and we would like to get you started today. We'd like to get you actually started with 7 gallons of Primo Max, 2 backpack sprayers for your workers, as well as a license certification for the use of our products, which will cost about $3,429. And we'll even throw in on-site training for your workers. Does that sound alright with you?
Gentlemen, it's very hard to say no to. The product seems very beneficial for my company. I did have a question though. Do you guys have any kind of payment plans or options available?
Oh, yes, we do. We currently have 3 permanent payment plans available. Our first payment will be a full payment today, in which case we would give you 5% off the sale of Primo Max. The second plan we have is a quarterly plan in which we'd be paying $900